only, moistening of the air and production of mucus to catch dust and things like that. So this is an inferior nasal concha found below these in the nasal cavity. And then the exact shape varies a lot from person to person, depending upon the shape of the nasal cavity and so on. So what's broken off is a process that's stuck down and shaped like a thumbnail, or a half circle over here. That is the maxillary process which articulates with part of the maxilla. So it would be bent more like a U if a piece weren't broken off over here. It's only about half of that piece remaining. And the surface area is so little that there's no way to get it to stick back on again. And then there are a number of processes, that's why there are graduate courses in osteology. So you can spend 13 weeks in the skeleton and then, spend an hour or two on just this bone, which you can't do if you have other things to cover as well. So these are different processes. This one is a palatine process that articulates with a ridge on the surface of the palatine bone. I'm not going to ask you to know all of those processes, but you should know this is the inferior nasal concha. Okay, so there are the three small bones. There's three smallest bones. Once again. Okay, so which is that one? Don't answer right away, though. Wait until other people have seen. Which is this one? Okay, go ahead.
That's the check mark one.
Yeah.
The
So-
nasal bone.
That's correct, the nasal bone. And then don't answer right away. What is this one? Okay, go ahead. That one. Lacrimal. And then what's that?
Inferior nasal concha.
Yeah, inferior nasal concha. Okay, so in a moment you can pick these up. But for these little ones, keep them right here. You can look at them. If you want to look at them with the aid of the atlas, do that up here. Bring the atlas up here. Now, the ones in the atlas, the nasal bone looks a little different because some people have wider noses and some narrow ones. That came from a person who had a remarkably narrow nose. But there are wider versions of noses as well, and those people have bigger nasal bones. Okay, but most of the projection, has to do with the cartilaginous part of the septum and the skin, rather than the lengthening of the bony nasal septum. Okay, and then what's this one once again? No, what's this one? This is the vomer. This one's the vomer. Just note down for this one as a memory aid that it's L-shaped. It's the palatine bone. See, L-shaped. It's the palatine bone. The vertical part forms part of the rear side wall of the nasal cavity, behind the maxilla. And the horizontal part forms the back part of the hard palate, also behind the maxilla. And the two palatine bones articulate with one another at an intrapalatine suture, right over there, which is directly behind the intermaxillary suture, toward the rear of the hard palate.
Professor,
Yes.
is the palatine bone for memory? The palatine bone, what is it for?
The memory jogger for the palatine bone, it's L-shaped. Yeah, as a hint, a memory aid. Now, you don't have to use that, but I noticed that it seems to help some people to keep in mind that it's L-shaped.
The vertical part is like it becomes the back of the nasal cavity.
It's a back side wall. You can see nasal cavity is in between those two vertical parts. This is behind the maxilla, and the vertical part's back side wall. More anteriorly, the side wall, the lateral wall, is mostly maxilla. Okay, but with lacrimal contributing a bit as well.
And the horizontal is the hard palate.
Yeah, it's called the horizontal plate of the palatine. And that's hard palate posterior to the part of the hard palate which is formed by maxilla.
What's the vertical one? Maxilla?
Say again.
The vertical? It is.
It's behind, The maxillary bone and the palatine form the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. And that this is back lateral wall. More anterior lateral wall is maxilla. Okay. I will take out the Beauchamp skull, something called the Beauchamp skull, because it was first prepared, one like this was first set up by an anatomist whose last name was Beauchamp. And it shows all the bones slightly separated, but almost articulated, but not quite. So in effect, it's an exploded skull. Okay. It shows the skull in freeze frame, just